When I first collected all these, right, I was just thinking, okay, I hope that their spirits don't come and haunt me. But I come to realize that having something that they previously owned, right, is a way to honor them.
When I'm around old books owned by old dead people, but the books feel more alive than I am actually, because they have a lot to tell. Not just the authors of the book, it's who made them.
Yeah, please ask me again. I'm Alvin Lee here, and I'm a collector of military memorabilia in Singapore. I've been collecting for the past 30 years. I would say 70% of what I own would have been used by a soldier. Alright, so what I have before you is a mock-up cockpit of a B-25 World War II bomber. This was actually used in a documentary about a Singapore World War II pilot, Captain Ho Wing To. The production crew wanted to dispose it, but I thought that, hey, such a beautiful artifact like this with so much details belongs in my home. Alright, so let me share with you a bit about my collection. What we have here is a mannequin donned with the World War II German uniform. It is made of wool, and this is how the combatant would be dressed during the Second World War. We have the ammo pouches, we have the shoulder straps, and this person would be from the military police, as shown with this gorget over here. Now, for this particular setup over here, it was suggested by my interior designer when we moved into the home. So I told him I wanted something that can exude, you know, the aura and make everything shown here, the showpieces to our guests. I've decided to showcase all these uniforms is because these are the more interesting and important ones in my opinion, and I would like these to be the talking pieces when our guests come to my home. So what I have here, it will be from the German conflict of World War II. This is worn by a general. We have a British battle dress here. This is from a second lieutenant of the Royal Artillery. So I remember paying about $200 US, but I feel that every cent is worth it because it is an actual item used during its heyday. And for this particular one, which I'm very proud of, this is our very first Singapore Armed Forces camouflage helmet cover. Meaning to say, when our army was first conceptualized, this was the very first of any kind of camouflage that was used back then for our troops. For this particular helmet cover, it is a very rare item, and I only managed to get it like I think 5 or 6 years ago after looking for it for like 20 years. Now moving on, we have this showcase. This is something that I'm particularly proud of. This is like a jeweler showcase I have in my own home. Well, it stores my collection of medals and insignia. These are all the replica items. And over here, in the other showcase, I have the original medals and other badges here. And of course, there's still a lot of space left. That means more collecting. Now, what I have here, this very interesting cabinet, is actually a movie prop. Now, this was used in a documentary some years ago that featured the life of our national servicemen in the 1960s. What I have here is my collection of Temasek Green uniforms and equipment as worn by our Singapore Armed Forces in the 1960s. So this is the reason why I kept everything here, because this cupboard was from that era, and I felt that whatever items and uniforms from that time frame should be kept here as well to maintain its authenticity. This is the British paratroopers bicycle. It is an authentic item used during the Second World War. The airborne troopers would jump out of the plane with it, fold it, and they would unfold it and ride into the battle. So this is very significant to me because it was a gift from my dear wife Michelle many years ago. I realized from collecting all these items, right, you also get a chance as a collector to understand the various smells and scents that one experienced last time, even down to like the taste of the rations. So these are some things that history books really can't offer. I would say it was due to like watching military movies. It was a time of war movies, and I did many military models, plastic modeling. So all these fueled my interest in the military. So like every boy's dream, I believe I started collecting the helmet first, because a soldier is nothing without a helmet. Yep, and a helmet is something very iconic. So that was when I started my first piece of a military item here. And from then on, I told myself, okay, I have the helmet. So what's next? Definitely, the soldier needs to be clothed and to be equipped. So I collected more and more items from then on, and it just continued and continued to this very day. People are trying to get rid of these military memorabilia. But for me, it comes to my home, to my bunker, where I know that it is safe and that I have extended its life by owning it.
Everything okay?
Yes, let's go. I've been invited by the Navy Museum several times to showcase my collection. Okay?
Yep.
Okay, dear. Help me to put all these on the rack.
Okay.
All right. Then whatever that you see over here, right? This one needs to be on the table.
Okay. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alvin. I collect military items. I'm not a Garanguni. I just want to share with you my NSF journey. This is my hobby and passion. I'm a person that loves to talk. And with that, I would love to really share about my collection with the public, because I really want them to know a bit more in-depth stuff that they would need to know and they can appreciate it. It's actually the second version of the office uniform that was worn by the naval personnel during the 1970s.
Alvin's collection is very fascinating because of the vast amount of objects and equipment and uniforms that he has. All these form tangible heritage, which is very important to telling our defense story. And his collection and the sheer amount is indeed quite rare, especially in the context of Singapore.
Once again, why is this so special? Because this is quite hard to find, as this is also made in Singapore. Otherwise, I thank you all for your attention. Thank you very much.
Okay, platoon, listen up. This is your last route mark. Very important to everyone.
Corporal Tankayu.
So they approached me to be their historical and uniform consultant, because there were elements of the military being showcased in these two movies. So I assisted with giving them advice, purchasing some of the insignia uniforms as well.
Maybe something must happen to you for you to wake up the idea, right?
Now I'm much older, so it is time to think, what will happen to all these items if I'm not here anymore? Perhaps take on a few apprentices of mine, so that I can really train them and cultivate their interest in collecting, so that they can continue this legacy. They're not just artifacts to me, but they represent the very thing that I collect for, my blood and energy. Even though if we put some of these things in a museum or in some other showcase elsewhere, it may just be there and it may be neglected. But over here, you can be assured that I'm here all the time.
Do I leave it there? Yeah. Trying to formulate it. Hang on. My name's Luqman. I'm a bookbinder, part-time conservator and restorer. As an antiquarian bookbinder, I make reproductions of antique books and the occasional repair works on actual antiquarian books. There are many styles of bookbinding. Of course, antiquarian style bookbinding mainly deals in binding styles before the 20th century. So this is some of my past works. So this is a buckram cloth binding. It's one of the most common styles of binding in the early 1900s and late 19th century. This one is a novel. So this is a half leather binding. It took me about a month to make this book. This is one of my pride and joys. This was a 1710 Salmon Botalanologia. It's a book on herbs, English herbs. As you can see, traditionally, it's a Georgian style binding. Different binders use different methods for aging the paper. It all depends on what tone they're going for. Some may use walnut ink or some other natural dyes. Some even use tea or coffee, but I prefer to use something that's not acidic. So I have come up with my own recipe over the years. We're going to do a 16th century Gothic binding. So as with any binding process, so first thing you're going to do is create the signatures. When I fold these, they form a signature. Most Gothic bindings would have used a gathering of 4 to 5 sheets, depending on the thickness of the sheets, of course. A sheet of paper, folded in 2, would yield 4 pages. So a signature of 4 to 5 sheets would have 16 to 20 pages. So we're just going to put it in a press. So just so we can draw some lines to guide with the sewing process. The press is important because it holds the signatures firmly in place, so we can mark the sewing stations and then saw the small grooves for the thread to go through. The number of sewing supports or sewing stations one could have depends on the size or height of the book. Personally, I think this method is way quicker, so you don't have to prick about 4 holes and more than 30 signatures. So in one stroke, you get all the holes in one go. Without my family's knowledge, I wasn't supposed to be working part-time, and I was just supposed to study. So the first thing I looked for was a bindery. I asked if I could work part-time, and all I did was just sweep the floors. Yeah, but from there, I had ample opportunity to observe. One of the most basic, the basic tools for a bookbinder, needle and thread. Much like a tailor, yeah. And the sewing frame. There are certain binding styles that require a sewing frame. My sewing frame, it's something that I designed myself and made here in Malaysia. You can find sewing frames overseas, but since they're expensive, and the designs are quite simple, so I thought I might as well just make it myself. The type of stitching is structured. There's this term, we call it the throw-up. The throw-up of a book. This is a hollow back binding. It's a flexible spine. It's hollow. So it's made with a certain binding style that gives it that flexible spine. Whereas others, you have a stiff spine, and that depends on the type. That's dependent on the type of paper that you use, for example. That's how one decides what binding goes on what kind of book. Take the thickness of the paper, for example. Signatures of thicker papers require thicker threads and stronger sewing supports. So this is what you call a packed sewing. Some people tend to, if you want, this one gives a stiffer spine. With less packed sewing, you get a more flexible spine. After that, you lace the cords into the board, secure the boards in place. Stretch it over the spine. In case if you've been wondering, that's where you get those raised bands in old books from. Those are the sewing supports. We live in a time where when something's broken, we don't fix it, we replace it. Back then, old books were made to last. They were made for posterity. I was about 10, 11 at the time when I bound my first book. My first hand-bound book was just made from stuff that I could find in the office or stationery shops. But it was one particular Disney cartoon that got me into bookbinding. One particular scene, actually, Snow White. There was this scene where the evil stepmother was looking through her spell books, trying to look for the poison apple recipe. The first thing that came to my mind was, oh, those are pretty books. And that's what sparked my interest in antiquarian books.
So this is a copy of the Albion edition of the poetical works of Sir Walter Scott. I think Luqman is keeping alive an art form that was almost extinct in KL, and one that is highly desired, because a lot of you might not realize this, but the book collecting scene is quite well and alive in Malaysia, and he fills a gap.
Yeah, maybe I could keep the old art and find the exact same patterns that would match.
Book repairs are quite intimidating because you mess up one irreplaceable book and that's it. So a client came with this book. It's from 1920s. There's nothing on the spine except for a piece of cardboard. So any normal person may consider throwing this away, but the binding is still good. So in my opinion, I guess this is still in decent condition. I see bookbinding not just an art, it's a craft, but yeah, it's an aesthetic preservation of knowledge. All we do is just help the books last as long as possible for the next generation to come across them. The books that I make or help repair will outlast me. I guess it's a form of legacy.